Sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying a very big shout out to every one of you for the love, the support you all shower me here with. I am grateful, and you all are super sweet. So there is this video I came across, and I was like, I am definitely bringing this here because, like, what the hell? And the fact that, you know, pop-colored people are always looking for a way to be the victims. You know, you see when somebody is hurting you and the person is also acting like a victim. I mean, like you are the one hurting him. I mean, how do people wake up to call a black person Monkey and think that it's okay, and then wake up to say that that we should learn to be forgiving and have empathy on somebody that is hurting you, somebody that is using racial slurs on you, somebody that is, like, you know, because, and then he went further to say that we always think that, like, you know, sometimes it is accidental racism. Is there anything like accidental racism? No, it is imbued. It's already in you. It's already embedded in you. Because if you can wake up to use some racial slurs on somebody and then you said it is an accidental racism, like, we should forgive you because it is not. Are these people okay? Like, are they okay? And you can imagine how just one person, because she's all by herself, the black woman, facing three persons, three racist people. And then she was saying, trying to speak to them, like, you know, how it affects her and all that. You all are talking over her. It looks like you all are, but then you all are not even listening at all. And then wanting to make yourselves the victim when the victim is actually out there trying to speak up on what is going on. There is nothing accidental about racism, especially when you all do it to black people and you all do it on purpose. I am rolling this clip. We'll come back to talk about it, and I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comments section. So straight up, let's get into the video.
As well, we've got to distinguish between intended racism and accidental racism. Yeah. Otherwise, we don't give people the chance to redeem themselves. If everything is racist, whether you intended it or not, then there's no forgiveness. There's no redemption, and there's no apology.
The concept of forgiveness.
There's no apology. Why apologize if you're guilty anyway? Yeah. Then that's it. You can't change it. You know, and you know, it's.
Do you not accept that? I mean, you're sitting back, and I get you're upset.
I'm ready to speak. I haven't had a chance to come in. In response to your question, Carol, you know, my issue is that everybody makes the person who does the racist thing the victim. So you're asking, is it right that he was sacked? Greg's saying he's a nice guy, he's going to lose his job. You know, how is he the victim in this scenario? This is a pregnant woman who had to arrange new levels of protection because of the amount of racist abuse she was receiving, which escalated when she announced she was pregnant. She's always had racist abuse, but when she announced her pregnancy, it multiplied because there is so much toxic racism in our society.
That's not Danny Baker's fault.
That's not Danny Baker's fault, but what is Danny Baker's fault is that he did something which was so offensive that when I first saw it, I actually thought it was a prank. I just thought nobody who the BBC gives a platform could be stupid enough to say this and not intend it to be racist, because it is one of, and we could talk about unintended racism or microaggressions, this is none of those. This is the most blatant, clear-cut example of racism. It's that generations of people have recognised this as an overtly racist trope. Within people's lifetimes, black people were still being compared to monkeys and dehumanised regularly.
So the sacking is right,
So I'm not interested in him. I'm not interested in him or what happens to him. By the way, he's already done a show which was more successful than his previous shows since he's been sacked. So if you're worried about his career, then I suspect...
No one's worried about his career, per se.
I'm not interested in him.
Talking.
I'm worried about the millions of black people who regularly live with this kind of abuse and then have to be in spaces like this where everybody denies it's a problem. That is something that I could not feel more strongly about. And I'm living it right now in this conversation. It's not good enough.
Got to distinguish between intended racism and accidental racism.
So I saw this video and I just immediately wanted to speak to what this guy is talking about. But please, when y'all have some time, go back and watch that entire video for not only your edification, but just for more context. But he's talking about the idea of us distinguishing between intended racism and accidental racism. When is racism ever accidental? That's my first question. Then he goes on and says that you have to give people the chance or opportunity to redeem themselves. My thing about that is that in a lot of cases where white people especially commit acts of racism, they have a hard time admitting that they're actually doing something that is racist. Try to distance themselves from the actual act itself. So like they'll place the act here and then they'll put themselves over here as if the act and the person committing the act are not one and the same. When at the end of the day, it is one and the same. Let's start. And in that video, they try to go to this idea that we have to work on forgiveness and we have to work on, some type of having empathy. Why am I going to empathize somebody who just committed an atrocity towards me? Explain that. Why should I have empathy when they don't even see my humanity? Furthermore, we see it all the time where these heinous acts of racism are committed by people and then they're the ones crying victim as if something terrible has happened to them, as if they've been the recipients of abuse or vitriol. It's kind of interesting that they do that and they pull that card religiously. Whether the act is intended or not, we always have to think about the impact. It's always intention versus impact with me when it comes to having these conversations. You cannot intend to do something racist. You cannot intend to do something homophobic. You cannot intend to do something misogynistic, blatantly ableist or anything like that. But still, the impact itself has far greater effects than what your intention actually was. True or false? Disenfranchised and underprivileged individuals should not be responsible for coddling the conscience of privileged folk. That is not how this works. That is not how this is going to work whatsoever. And to even think that we should do that is very entitled, narcissistic, and really fucked up. Let's just be honest about it. No matter what atrocity or what act you commit that harms a specific community, it doesn't matter if it's racism, transphobia, homophobia, ableism, any of those things, you have to be able to take actionable steps and actually do things that help repair the harm done and not expect people just to coddle or, forgive you so that way your conscience is clear. To me, being able to have a clear conscience only comes from being able to, being able to take accountability, being able to take onus, and being able to take actionable steps to repair the harm that was done and apply that newly acquired knowledge that you made from making a mistake. Because let's be honest, most knowledge comes from trial and error, and you have to be able to apply it in a way that helps everyone and yourself. Again, it's intention versus impact. And what makes a person good, or what makes a person an ally or a co-conspirator, so on and so forth, is not what they intended to do, but what they did and the lasting effects that it had, whether positive or negative. And that's one to grow on. You have a good day now.
As well, we've got to distinguish between intended racism and accidental racism. Otherwise, we don't give people the chance to redeem themselves. If everything is racist, whether you intended it or not, then there's no forgiveness. There's no redemption and there's no apology.
The concept of forgiveness.
There's no apology. Why apologize if you're guilty anyway? Then that's it. You can't change it. It's...
Do you not accept that? I mean, you're sitting back and I get your obsession.
I'm ready to speak. I haven't had a chance to come in. In response to your question, Carol, my issue is that everybody makes...
I'm going to let her finish, definitely. But listen, we got to talk about racial illiteracy and how individuals that usually are the perpetuators, you feel me, of, racial insensitivity and many defenses just straight up racism, they like to play the victim. They like to kind of shift, you feel me, the blame and kind of center themselves and their emotions instead of the material reality of what they just kind of did. You see what I'm saying? In this clip, we're going to see this right there. We also can recognize that anti-blackness is a global phenomenon and it is one that, infects all bodies in the world, not just white ones, not just black ones, but everybody in between. You see what I'm saying? My grandfather always said the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. So we acknowledge that, hey, man, there are individuals that do things that they don't intend bad. You feel what I mean? But this idea of accidental racism is baffling. You see what I'm saying? It sounds like something like a white lie, or it sounds like something like, you feel me, that is rhetorically trying to diminish what's actually going on. It's like some George Orwellian double speak. Like you ain't really saying what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? You don't see what I'm saying? I define racial illiteracy when you lack the ability to read and write situations and issues pertaining to race. Racial illiterate. If you apologize and you still doing the same thing, yeah, of course you're still guilty. You see what I'm saying? But if you try to correct that behavior and learn from your mistake, you know what I mean? That's a different ball game.
And, you know, it's... Do you not accept that? I mean, you're sitting back and I get your...
I'm ready to speak. I haven't had a chance to come in. In response to your question, Carol, you know, my issue is that everybody makes the person who does the racist thing the victim. So you're asking, is it right that he was sacked? Greg's saying he's a nice guy, he's going to lose his job. You know, how is he the victim in this scenario? This is a pregnant woman who had to arrange new levels of protection because of the amount of racist abuse she was receiving, which escalated when she announced she was pregnant. She's always had racist abuse, but when she announced her pregnancy, it multiplied because there is so much toxic racism in our society.
It's not Danny Baker's fault.
That's not Danny Baker's fault, but what is Danny Baker's fault is that he did something which was so offensive that when I first saw it, I actually thought it was a prank. I just thought nobody who the BBC gives a platform could be stupid enough to say this and not intend it to be racist, because it is one of, and we could talk about unintended racism or microaggressions, this is none of those. This is the most blatant, clear-cut example of racism. Is that generations of people have recognized this as an overtly racist trope. Within people's lifetimes, black people were still being compared to monkeys and dehumanized regularly.
So the sacking is right.
So I'm not interested in him. I'm not interested in him.
It's nobody's fault. A world of racism without racists. What?
Between intended racism and accidental racism. Otherwise, we don't...
One thing about the patriarchy is the patriarchy is going to always make excuses for its inferiority. And, you know, the thing I think that probably annoys many black women, because I know it annoys me, is how white women actually let these MFers be in charge. Like, how did y'all, who can actually birth life and bring life into the world, allow mediocre people like Marshmallow Manny to, like, run the world? Like, I get that y'all, you know, had to figure out how to subjugate and subdue all of the original people, you know, from all over the world. I get that y'all had to do that, so y'all didn't want us on your side. But why would y'all let the patriarchy become, you know, what's in charge? They are ruining everything, besides the fact that they don't even understand how words work. Here's this fool on here talking about the intent of racism. Well, racism is built in, and it's invisible to 99% of white people because y'all benefit from it. This black woman does an amazing job of holding her own on the stage with 3 overtly racist, anti-black, misogynistic people. And the thing is, understanding that, you know, religion, patriarchy, misogyny all go together, right, to execute anti-blackness just to uphold capitalism. And that's what the situation is. And so what I want to encourage white women to do is, if you are tired of being the second-class citizen, if you are tired of being abused and having your rights taken away, there is a place where you can unlearn a lot of your current conditioning and program. There is a place where you can, you know, take classes and get coaching and be in community with other people who are doing the work of unpacking patriarchy, unpacking religion, just overall anti-oppression work. And anybody who is, whether working formally or informally in the diversity, equity, inclusion space, whether you're in the anti-oppression space or the education space, listen, the other thing you need to understand is that social media is not going to be the place that's going to be where you're going to be able to get the best information that's going to help you really be able to achieve something. You're going to need to do that in the real world. And since COVID, a lot of people have lost relationships. That's one of the key reasons that I founded Leaders Learn Radical Change, a community platform for the Unleashed Empathy community and beyond. And it's also a place for solo paraprofessionals, small business CEOs, coaches, consultants, creatives, and educators to be able to build up your own platform. That way you don't have to worry about using all of these other platforms, Patreon and Zoom and everything, and you can even cut down on your interaction on social media. If you are a small creator, especially a black creator, a woman creator on this app, and you've been struggling to get your message out, to get your content out because of, you know, the bullies, bots, the bigots, and the trolls. If you are really looking to have support in how you build your community on your own, download the Leaders Learn Radical Change app and connect with me, and I can show you how to build your own. The other thing I want to say to everyone listening is, Because I am a black woman, self-funded tech company, I'm out of money. And I have a GoFundMe. We've been running a technology fundraiser since July, and I'm asking for your help and support. Listen, those Black Girl Venture funds, those funds are going to be tied up in court for years. And there is no public organization. There are no CEOs or entities out there that want to fund the work of change. There's no entities and people out here who want to fund the work of liberation. That work has to be self-funded. That work has to be crowdsourced. That work has to come from mutual aid, right? From those of us who want to see liberation and freedom. Listen, download the Leaders Learn Radical Change app and connect with me. There's so much happening, but I need your help to keep everything going. The community and I are going to get on live in a bit, and we're going to share about the work we're doing and how you can get involved.
Intended racism and accidental racism.
Can someone explain to me what the heck is accidental racism? See, people make up-ish to do everything but accept ownership when they F up. What the hell is accidental racism? I've never heard of that in my life. How are you accidentally racist? By using a term that is so blatantly racist and has been used in racist context a multitude, a massive amount of times. So you know it's wrong and racist, and somehow it is accidental racism. And then the woman in that video is gonna have the gall, the audacity to then to this black woman say, and I know that you're upset, you're sitting back, shut up. I think she should lose her job too. And then they're gonna have the nonsensical thought to sit there and open up their mouth when the black woman said, and everyone's upset or whatever, oh, no one cares. Yes, you do. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't even be talking about it. You wouldn't even be trying to defend it. Calling a black person a monkey is not accidental. Just like saying caucasity versus audacity. When people say caucasity, it is not accidental. And the fact she has to sit there and all of their face, and I didn't see the entire video. I just saw this little snippet in this video. But they're all sitting there and she has to explain to you, just like I'm going through right now, and it doesn't click. Is that man one of those men in there? He don't even look white. And he is fighting for something that is not his business. I'm just a little puzzled. Y'all want to be victims so bad. I think all of them, except the black woman who over there fighting for a piece of trash, talking about accident. You sound stupid. Like you not have no sense. A chat about accidentally racist? And you called somebody a monkey? Do y'all, before y'all go live, have no... Here's the thing, I'm going to ask a stupid question. It's a stupid question because I already know the answer. Do you, before you go live on television, before you touch the screen, not practice what you have to say? Figure out what you want to say before you say it? Y'all just be going on there and just word vomit. I don't even need you to answer because I already know the answer to that. The answer is no. You don't just go and spout anything. So the fact y'all sat there talking about something was accidental, no, what came out of his mouth was unrehearsed racism. That is something That is not, that is thoughtless racism. That is unconscious racism. Something that has been embedded in all of society. The thoughts that black is less. The thoughts that somehow we're less, but we're stronger, right? We're too scary. We're too this. It's not fair that such and such gymnast gets to do these moves because we're usually to consider grace as opposed to power behind our moves. And oh my God, how did Williams win the tennis match? Because that's not fair. She's just built like. Y'all always got something to say. We're either too much or we're too little. You think we're fool. You play with a fool. You play with a fool.
What to distinguish between intended racism and accidental racism.
Yeah. Look at her face. She's exhausted of this shit. People of color are exhausted of this shit. Like, the educational energy is depleted. It's just like looking at someone talk this nonsense and just like the one thought in your head is just like, shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Apology.
The concept of forgiveness.
There's no apology. Why apologize if you're guilty anyway? Then that's it. You can't.
I see everyone is pointing out her eloquent rebuttal on this, but did y'all just hear what he said? Like, can we unpack that as adults? Because I honestly feel like that's the reason why many of you guys are like physically afraid to apologize. Like, you physically cannot say I'm sorry. Because, sir, why would an innocent person be apologizing? And that's the problem, is just like, how are you? A lot of you guys see I apologize. It's like this empty platitude you just give someone so they can hurry up and shut up. The point of an apology is that you feel remorse for something you did wrong. And way too many of you guys predicate your apology on whether or not you're going to be forgiven. That's not the point of an apology. Apology is not a transactional phrase. When you fuck up, you apologize. The victim has nothing to do with you feeling remorse and you apologizing. Come on, guys. We teach 5-year-olds this.
So this is all I got from the stitches, and trust me, it looks like you can tell from everything that is going on there that they weren't, or they were not actually listening to that lady. They just want to speak. They just want to talk because, you know, they know how to talk more. And I don't think racism can be accidental. And the fact that they, like, you know, they got the nerves to even say this in front of the lady is already disgusting. Telling her that it might not be intent, you know. They might probably not mean this, and they say this and it's accidentally. I mean, something that is already inbuilt in them, and somebody has to say that it's accidental. It is not accidental. It is amazing how they are trying so hard to be the victims, you know. And if you did not do anything, why would you want to apologize? There is no need apologizing if you did not do anything. You know, conversations like this will kind of tell you or prove to you that they still see us, they still do not see us as humans, you know. And it is kind of traumatizing for somebody like, you know, a colored person to stand up or to say that, to call a black person Monkey. I mean, are you going to say that is accident? There is nothing accidental about that. And it is time they start, you know, owning up to their bullshit. And I think it's time also, like, you know, when they try to be mean or use some racial slurs on us, straight up we give it back to them. So by that, I think they will know that, man, I don't want to be called what I don't want, you know. When we start giving them the same energy they give us, I am sure, trust me, they definitely will repent. They definitely will have a change of mind. They definitely will know these people aren't here to, like, you know, joke and all that. Because it is always them who wake up every day to gaslight themselves and look for a way to use racial slurs on somebody and then turn back to tell. I mean, like, I am disgusted. You all can see from that woman's face already, like, you know, can imagine one person facing raped to deceased 3 persons. You can tell from her face that she is already exhausted, like, I am not having it anymore, and all that. I mean, this is a very great content. I love the fact that she actually stood up for herself and all that, and also, like, you know, made her point clear, straight up, right in front of their faces. And see, on a serious note, Palm Color, there is nothing like her. What the hell is accidentally raped to the season? I mean, the oppressor is always the first to act like they are the victims. When, can you imagine, like, you know, somebody calling you racial slurs, and the person is also acting like a victim, like he is the one that hurts. I mean, you are the one that hurts him. Like, how are you supposed to receive that? They are trying so hard to be oppressed, like, you know, so that it will look like they are also oppressed. Like, it is not only them. It is not only you people that it's going through all of that. I mean, we are also, facing the same shit, you know? And he went further to say that we should be forgiving. Like, how am I supposed to forgive somebody that is hurting me? Man, can we do better as humans? I mean, because when we treat one another as humans, I guess we definitely will get it right. Or when we treat one another as, like, you know, we are equal, I think we will get it right. But then when you start treating somebody that you are above them, because that is how what it looks like. If you can wake up to call somebody, like, you know, use that racial slur on somebody, I mean, it means like you are trying to, like, you know, tell the person that I am above you and the rest of it. I mean, such a bullcrap attitude. This is where I am going to draw the curtain. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.